My name is Adam Dienst-Scott. I am an instructor of photography at Metropolitan Community College. I was finishing up my one-year appointment, having returned to K-State after graduate school to fill in for a year as they were searching for a new instructor. I knew I was going to be out of a job, so I decided there was a Society for Photographic Education conference in Denver, Colorado, and it's kind of a networking thing. It's for photography programs at different universities across the country. They all kind of get together for a conference, and I decided to attend this conference hoping to hopefully to find a job. And on the last day of the conference, I looked at the job board, and there was a little note that was looking for a photography laboratory technician at a community college in Omaha, Nebraska. So I applied for it, and here I am. Actually, it was a kind of a strange story because originally I went to Emporia State to become a theater instructor. I didn't really have an interest in photography or the arts, really. And actually, photography was an elective course for my degree, and I happened to get a hold of my parents' old 35mm film camera, a Pentax K1000, and decided to take this class. And for the moment I was stepping into that darkroom, I was in love, and that's just kind of where I went from there. I would say the program itself, I stepped into a program that wasn't like anything I'd experienced in undergraduate or graduate school. And having looked at other programs, I'd say we are very unique at the fact that we have the most diverse photography program I've seen. I mean, as a student coming into Metro, no matter what your interests are in photography, we have you covered. And within 2 years at Metro, you can come in and you can learn a photographic process that was invented in 1851. But within the 2 years, you're also going to learn how to use and operate the latest equipment in photography and also the latest editing software. So the diversity of the program is a huge reason why I stay. Technology has changed a lot, especially in photography. I don't think there's any other artistic media that changes as much as photography. It seems like every week I'm reading about a new camera that's coming out. And when I started photography, it seems like a long time ago, it was film-based. And then from undergraduate to graduate school, that's when that big transition from film to digital happened. So I had to learn both. So I appreciate both sides of photography, both aspects. I'm not one or the other. Technology has affected the way I teach because everybody's a photographer. Everybody has a camera on them at all times, in their pockets, and there are a lot of photos out there. So the biggest way, the way that I've had to change my teaching is in the darkroom there's a lot of process involved, and there still is a lot of process involved with digital, but it's more accessible. Students are able to do it at home, and they're able to do it on their own time. And it's made it a lot, I don't want to say easier, but we have students who are dealing with thousands of images every week in some cases in our classes, whereas with film they're only dealing with 36, 72. So we don't have to really focus so much on the process itself anymore, but now it's opened me up to start talking more about content a little bit earlier on in the program. And I think that's probably been the biggest change I've seen. Well, what I want my students to take away from the program is an understanding that it's about visual communication. They have to be able to speak to their audience. And right now with technology, the way that it is, there are plenty of platforms in which to speak. But for the most part, it's really just a lot of noise. And students need to take away from our program that they need to have their own individual voice if they are going to be successful outside of Metropolitan Community College, whether it's moving on to a four-year institution, whether it's starting their own studio. They have to be able to find that one thing that's going to make them separate from the pack. And they need to understand that that's going to require some hard work, and it is going to require some sacrifice. So I want students to understand that if photography is fun, it's great, but it can also be very difficult to be successful in. What students have taught me, just in the 5 years I've been teaching full time, is that being able to stick to one certain teaching method doesn't cut it anymore. I mean, the days of just simply standing in front of a classroom with chalk in hand and giving a lecture, that doesn't work anymore, and it doesn't work for a majority of students. You have to be able to make things relevant, and relevance is very important. I mean, and with that, I have to understand that I need to continue learning. I need to continue updating my gear and understanding what's going on and updating my skill set in order to bring that into the classroom. Because photography is always changing, and to teach it, that means I have to change with it in order to give my students the best opportunities. Most students will say about me is that I had high expectations, and every quarter I read my teacher evaluations, and they write it like it's a bad thing for me to have high expectations, but I don't see it as a bad thing. I do have high expectations, and I think the rest of the faculty here have high expectations, because we know that no matter how harsh I may be in the classroom, how critical I can seem at times, I am the last nice voice that they're going to come in contact with before they exit our program. Because when people are paying you thousands of dollars to do their work, their project for them, and you're not making it, they're going to be a lot harsher. I'm not taking money out of your pocket. I'm just assigning a grade. So yeah, my expectations are high, because that's just what I expect out of my students. I expect the best. I expect them to bring the best. My greatest challenge to being a professional and to be an educator is just probably trying to find the time to be the artist that I am. Because teaching it takes a good portion of my time. I do dedicate a lot of my time to it, just not in the classroom, but also outside of class. So I find it hard and challenging to find time to make my own work, because that's what I went to college for, as well as teaching. But I went to college to get my fine art degree. So in the future, I'm hoping to be able to open up that a little bit more. What's next for me is I am currently working on becoming more proficient in wet plate collodion. It's a class that I taught here over the summer. It's a 5-week course, and I had a lot of success teaching it. I had a lot of student success with the process. It's a historical, a 19th century process. But I would like to actually use it a little bit more for my own personal work. So that's what I hope to be working on soon. Well, if I have a lot of time, I usually travel with my family. I have 2 little girls that I like to spend time with, and a beautiful wife. So they take up the time that I have outside of here. But when I am able, I sneak off and maybe read a comic book. That's my one little escape thing. And after 2016, we all need a little escapism. So that's where I find mine, in Batman. Well, there is a quote that I put on my syllabi, and it's a quote by painter David Hockney, and it says, if I can remember correctly, the hand, heart, and eye are far more complex than any computer ever can be. Because no matter what the advances in technology are, especially in photography, it's the person that's controlling that device. That's really the one that's speaking. All right? The camera is just a tool. I'm Dienst-Scott. I'm a photography instructor at Metropolitan Community College.